It was late on a bitterly cold winter night when I decided to make the long journey to my old house in the village. The clock had passed midnight, and the mountain road known as Al Awabis Road was the only shortcut available. I had heard countless stories about it, tales of mysterious accidents and suspicious suicides, but as always, I placed logic above superstition. My handheld camera, which I used to record clips for my modest vlog, bore witness to that journey. The fog began to creep in like a living creature, wrapping the road in a dense shroud that reduced visibility to only a few meters. I slowed my four-wheel drive vehicle, feeling the first sharp prick of anxiety. Silence dominated everything. Even the sound of the engine felt like a muffled whisper beneath the heavy stillness. There was no light except for the headlights piercing the milky white fog, only to reflect back at me in a terrifying way. Then the first strange thing appeared. On the edge of the road near a sharp bend, someone was standing. As I approached, I realized it was a tall man wearing a long, dark coat, standing perfectly still with his back to me. He didn't turn. He didn't move. He simply stood there, as if he were part of the rocky landscape itself. My heartbeat accelerated. No sane person would stand in such a place at such an hour. I passed him quickly, my eyes fixed on the side mirror. I saw him still there, but his head, it seemed to turn slowly, unnaturally, following my car's movement. Then he vanished into the fog. I took a deep breath and tried to convince myself that he was just a stranded traveler or a shepherd. But something about his posture, about that mechanical, deliberate turn, planted a seed of terror deep inside me. I kept driving, my fingers gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. The road twisted more tightly, the mountains on either side seeming to lean inward, choking the narrow passage. Then I heard the sound for the first time. Tap, tap, tap. A light, almost metallic sound, like a nail tapping on glass. It came from the roof. I stopped breathing and listened. Silence. Maybe a stone kicked up by the tires. Yes, that had to be it. Tap, 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 tap. This time it was unmistakable. It came from the passenger side window. I looked at it in terror, expecting to see a distorted face or a hand scratching at the glass. There was nothing, only thick white fog reflecting the faint interior light. But the sound continued, steady and deliberate, as if someone were following me on the roof, knocking simply to remind me of their presence. "This is impossible," I whispered, my voice trembling. "There's no one up there." I decided to stop. I pulled over on the narrow roadside. The sound stopped instantly, as if it were waiting for my next move. I flung the driver's door open and stepped out. The freezing air and rolling fog slapped my face. I looked up. The roof was completely empty. I looked around. Nothing but rock walls, darkness, and fog. The silence was crushing. Relieved, I got back into the car. Maybe it was just my imagination. Maybe a nearby tree branch had been hitting the vehicle. But when I sat back down and closed the door, I looked into the rearview mirror. Something was sitting in the back seat. It was the ghost of a woman, pale, wearing a dirty white dress. Her long black hair covered most of her face, but I could see two wide eyes, completely black, staring straight at me. She didn't move. She just sat there. I screamed and lurched forward, my chest slamming into the steering wheel. My heart was about to explode. When I forced myself to look back again, the seat was empty, no trace of anything. But a foul smell, wet earth and rot, filled the car. That was the turning point. I could no longer explain what was happening. Superstition had become a tangible reality breathing inside my car. I started the engine and sped off wildly, ignoring every dangerous curve. I had to escape this place, this road. Then the lights appeared. At first I thought they were headlights from a car behind me, but they were too close, too bright, an unbearable white glow. They cast my giant shadow ahead of me onto the road. I tried to accelerate, but they stayed the same distance away as if attached to me. I glanced into the rearview mirror. The brightness made my eyes water. I couldn't make out any vehicle, just a blinding white mass of light. Then the voices began. Whispers. Not one, but dozens, hundreds, overlapping. Unintelligible words coming from everywhere. The air vents, the speakers beneath the seats. The language was unfamiliar, but the tone was unmistakable, full of hatred, urgency, hunger. I covered my ears, but the whispers went straight into my head, as if they were coming from inside me. Leave the metal. Leave the metal. The words began to emerge in Arabic, repeated by childlike and elderly voices at once. The road is hungry. The road is waiting. Stop. Stop. Shut up, I screamed. Leave me alone. Suddenly, the white lights behind me vanished. The whispers stopped. Silence returned, but now it was heavier, charged with expectation. And after a sharp bend, I saw it. It stood in the middle of the road. It was neither the man in the coat nor the pale woman. It was something else. It was tall, unnaturally tall, more than 3 meters. Its body was thin, almost skeletal, bent at sharp angles that defied anatomy. Its skin was the color of wet ash, emitting a faint bluish glow. But its face, or what should have been its face, was a flat void except for a mouth stretched wide open, filled with interlocking, pointed teeth like a shark's, dripping with dark, viscous strands. It had no eyes. It stood there, its flattened head rotating slowly, as if examining the world through its mouth. Then, with that horrifying mechanical movement, it turned its face toward me. I felt myself about to lose control of my bladder. Every cell in my body screamed to escape, but the car was moving too fast and the curve was too sharp. My choices were simple: hit the thing or plunge into the abyss. In a moment of madness mixed with survival instinct, I slammed the accelerator to the floor and aimed straight at it, screaming with every ounce of terror and rage in my soul. Just before impact, it extended a long, stick-thin arm ending in claw-like fingers. I felt a cold blow pass through the windshield, not shattering it, but passing through it, and sink into my chest. Everything went dark. I woke to the sound of the engine ticking as it cooled. The fog was gone. The sky glowed with the gray chill of dawn. I was still in the driver's seat, the car safely parked at the edge of the road, right at the entrance to my village. My body trembled violently, and my chest ached as if an icy blade were still embedded in it. I looked around. No man, no woman. The road was clear, calm, terrifyingly normal. Even the smell of rot was gone. Had it all been a dream? A panic attack? Hallucinations from exhaustion? With shaking hands, I picked up my camera, which had been facing me throughout the journey. Maybe it had recorded something. Anything. I played the last video. There I was, pale and exhausted, talking about the night journey. Then I saw myself stop and step out of the car. The sound was normal. Wind, a distant engine hum. Then I got back in. And there it was. Clear as day, the reflection of the woman in the white dress in the rearview mirror, sitting behind me. I saw my own face drain of color, frozen in silent terror. And the voices, they were there on the recording, louder, clearer. I listened, my lips trembling. You won't leave the road. It has touched you. It will come back for you. When you travel at night again. When you are alone. We will be there. I shut the camera off immediately. My heartbeat thundered like war drums. I reached my old house and rushed inside, feeling briefly safe within its familiar walls. I tried to sleep, but every shadow looked like a standing figure, and every creak in the wood sounded like tapping on glass. I stayed in the village for 3 days. On the 3rd night, I woke in the middle of the night to a familiar sound. Tap, tap, tap. It came from the bedroom window on the ground floor. I froze. The sound repeated, the same metallic rhythm. I gathered my courage and peeked from behind the curtain. In the front yard, under the cold moonlight, stood 3 figures. The tall man in the coat, his back to me. The pale woman, staring directly at my window, her hair moving as if alive. And the tall, skeletal thing behind them, its tooth-filled mouth stretched open unnaturally. They were just standing there, waiting. But the worst part wasn't them. It was the empty road behind them. Under the moonlight, the road seemed to breathe. The asphalt moved like thick black liquid, and the trees along its sides bent unnaturally, their thin branches pointing toward my house. The road itself was alive, and those figures were merely extensions of its ancient hunger. Now, I'm writing these words on my laptop. The sun is shining outside the window. I see nothing, but I know they are there, waiting in the shadows the sunlight can't reach. I know Al Awabis Road isn't finished with me. I crossed its boundary that night. It allowed its creatures to see me, to touch my soul. And now they follow me. The journey isn't over. It has only changed its path. They are waiting for the coming night, waiting for the moment I have to travel again. Alone, on the road, in the dark. And I know, deep down in a way that makes my body shiver, that they won't wait long. Because I can hear the whispers now, even in broad daylight. A faint voice comes from the dark corner of the room. The road is hungry, and the road never forgets.